everyone, it's Tendency here, and today we'll be covering What If Tanjiro Had Yoriichi's Potential Part 2. As Tanjiro returned to Rokodaki, he found that Nezuko had woken up from her 2-year slumber. The normally very calm and kind Tanjiro slowly began sobbing as he ran toward her, as he told her all about what had happened while she was asleep and how much he had missed her. Even Urokodaki, who was standing in the background, began crying, as not only did he see such a beautiful sight of sibling love, but Tanjiro did it. He had come back. As a gift for his return, Tanjiro was given a box of high quality where Nezuko could hide during the day. Tanjiro was, of course, incredibly happy about this, but after a week or so, the swordsmith Haganezuka arrived at the hut with a sword made especially for Tanjiro. When he saw the boy, Haganezuka seemed to light up as he talked about a legend of a red-eyed boy whose sword would turn bright red, and, as well know, Tanjiro had those exact bright red eyes. When Tanjiro was given his sword, he gripped its handle tightly, and, to everyone's shock, it turned a strikingly fiery red. Haganezuka and Urokodaki were left in shock, but the sword slowly turned a crow-like black. "What the fu-" And Haganezuka raged as he threw his things all over, as he thought he had made a sword for the man of legends, yet he was disappointed so much. And so, Haganezuka ran away, still cursing the most foul words known to man, with Urokodaki just laughing. Tanjiro laughed as well, and then, after another day or so of chilling, began to set out on his first mission as a demon slayer. When he arrived at the deserted town, his sense of smell was immediately attacked by the horrid smell of a demon. Tanjiro instantly followed it, his hand tightly gripping his sword, but as he ran, he came across a man huddled in a corner. Tanjiro stopped as his good heart took over his mission-centered mind, as he went over to help, but the man lashed out at him, telling him how his girlfriend had disappeared and how her parents had lashed out at him as well, but Tanjiro calmly and kindly smiled at him and said, "Please, let me help you. I can find her, but you need to help me as well." And so, the man, still sobbing, agreed, and they looked for the demon together. When the smell became extraordinarily horrible, Tanjiro drew his sword, and the second the demon came out, sliced its head off in a wave of fire? Tanjiro sighed as the demon disintegrated and picked up the bows the demon had with him, which all popped out of the black lake that slowly closed as the demon died. Tanjiro picked the collection of bows up and gave one of them to the man. This was hers, right? And as the man began sobbing even louder than before, Tanjiro placed the man's hand in his as he said, "I understand. You aren't alone in this." And when the man lashed out at him, telling him, "You have no idea how this feels. I've lost my wife forever." But as he stared into Tanjiro's kind eyes, he just sobbed more as he apologized. But Tanjiro told him, "You don't need to apologize. I hope you find a new love soon. I believe in you." And, with a last smile, Tanjiro left the town and was quickly shouted at by his crow that he needed to go to the next town. But, as that was happening, another crow flew away. We cut to a scene of the head of the demon slayers, who smiled so wide that he looked like a crazed man. "We finally have a chance." That boy, he coughed up some blood, has turned a small cog in the world, and he will lead us to win. And he laughed. He seemed almost as evil as his hate for Muzan spewed out, although his hate wasn't the only hate that just spiked. We cut back to Tanjiro, who had arrived in a town in Asakusa, who had just grabbed the shoulder of an unknown man. "Muzan Kibutsuji," Tanjiro said, drawing his blade. In an instant, attempting to cut his head, however Muzan was able to seemingly dodge it. In a movement so fast Tanjiro could barely spot it, he knocked Tanjiro away, as he told his family that they needed to go. But Tanjiro, who had tagged an attack from Demon King himself, screamed at him, "You, Musa Kibutsuji, I, Tanjiro, will be the one to kill you. I and all the other demon slayers will follow you to hell and beyond. We will avenge everyone who has died, all the men you've turned to demons." But then he passed out. Muzan walked away, his eyes wide open. That mark. He had seen that exact mark before. Suddenly blood spurted out of Muzan's shoulder, right where his neck was when Tanjiro attempted to cut him. He's just like that man. The blood shot to his face as he ordered an almost lower moon level threat to kill Tanjiro. As Tanjiro slowly woke up, he realized that he was no longer on the street. He was in some random home. He smelled a demon, but They weren't like the other demons, not like Muzan in any way. They seemed kind and had good intentions, and so Tanjiro and Tamayo slowly became friends, although Yushiro wasn't too much of a fan of that. As they discussed curing Nezuko, the house wall was suddenly demolished by a clay-like substance. The demon that had stood outside was covered in that exact mud, and it attacked them again. The mud seemed to have some acidity. Tanjiro quickly stood up and disappeared almost as quick. However, when the demon's head fell, he didn't disintegrate. "What the?" Tanjiro said as he was flung away by the demon. His uniform was burned, but that's when Tanjiro realized this wasn't the demon's form. The smell was way too weak for a demon that strong, and where he was right now, this. This is where the demon's scent was strongest. Standing up once more, Tanjiro struck his blade into the ground, and a scream of pain came out as the demon jumped from the ground, cracking it all over. "You damn human!" But as the demon attempted to send a lethal amount of acidic mud at Tanjiro, he evaded it and cut his head off using the first form of water breathing. Standing over the demon's disintegrating body, he plunged the blood collector into its body before praying for it, then returning the blood to Tamayo. Having done all of this, Tanjiro was happy. He was definitely on the way to get Nezuko back to being a human, although he felt alone. He hadn't made any friends, as he was just focused on being a demon slayer, but that was destined to change. On his way to the next mission, Tanjiro met a boy who was crying and screaming at the feet of a woman. The woman seemed very uncomfortable as the boy screamed how he was going to die alone, and Tanjiro noticed this boy was also wearing a demon slayer uniform. Tanjiro quickly ran toward them as he picked Zenitsu up with ease, apologizing to the woman, and then walking further on to his mission. "Put me down!" Zenitsu screamed as Tanjiro stared at him, almost disgusted. But after some time walking together, they slowly became friends, with Tanjiro even sharing some food with him. As it turns out, they were headed to the same mission, and so they both arrived in front of the Tsuyumi mansion. Standing there was a pair of siblings crying about their brother, but Tanjiro was able to calm them down enough so that they all were able to go into the mansion together. A loud boom rang through the mansion as Zenitsu and Tanjiro were separated. We skip ahead a bit to where Tanjiro began fighting with the drum demon. Tanjiro ran toward the demon, thinking it'd be as easy as his other fights, and he was very overconfident, but even if he was able to easily defeat him, that exact overconfidence led to him being knocked around by the demon's blood demon art, which almost led to the brothers' demise, and so Tanjiro said, "I am ashamed. My own overconfidence almost led to the death of a man. I will never let that happen again," and he gripped his blade tightly, flaring it up to become bright red as the legend entailed, and beheaded the demon, paying his respects to it, telling the still barely alive demon that your ability was truly incredible, and the demon slowly sobbed as he was glad he was acknowledged, even at the end of his life. We cut to Tanjiro leaving the house, and the first thing he spotted as a beat-up Zenitsu getting pummeled by a man in a boar head. Tanjiro quickly jumped to Zenitsu's aid, headbutting Inosuke with the momentum from jumping over, knocking him out within a single blow. When Inosuke woke up, they all went to the Wisteria estate, where they were greeted by a smiling lady who took care of them. They were all fine after some time, although they did have some broken bones, and so they went out on their journey toward Mount Natagumo. Now I hope you all enjoyed this part of the What If. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, but without further ado, this was Tenitsu, and I am out.